Hi there, welcome to today's episode of What Does the Law Say? How are you doing? I hope you've been keeping safe and you're doing well. So now, right into today's discussion, we're going to be talking about voidable marriages. If you remember, we've talked about void or invalid marriages in our previous video where I explained to you, instances where a marriage can be declared void or declared invalid. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about voidable marriages. Voidable marriages are marriages that are capable of being void, or they are capable of being declared void. So based on some circumstances that I will explain to you, those marriages can be declared, or by the courts, can be declared void or invalid based on those circumstances. So what are those circumstances? And in what instance can a marriage be declared or be seen as voidable? According to Section 5 of the Matrimonial Causes Act, we have these instances where a marriage can be declared voidable. So firstly, the Section 5, someone says that either party to the marriage is incapable of consummating the marriage. So in the instance whereby either of the parties to the marriage are incapable of consummating the marriage, that marriage is seen as a voidable marriage. Okay, so you might ask, what does it mean for either of the party to consummate the marriage? So the parties in the marriage are meant to, have sexual intercourse because they are, man and wife. They are meant to have sexual intercourse. So in the instance whereby either of the party is incapable of consummating that marriage would be seen as a voidable marriage. The second instance is when either of the parties to the marriage is of a sound mind, or either of the parties to the marriage is has a mental defect, or either of the parties to the marriage has recurrent attacks of epilepsy and insanity. So in these instances I've mentioned here, it is possible for a marriage to be declared void based on them. Either the parties cannot consummate the marriage, or there's mental instability, or unsound mind, or insanity, or epilepsy. And also lastly, so either of the party to the marriage has a venereal disease in a communicable form. That can also be a circumstance, or that is also one of the circumstances where a marriage may be declared void. And lastly, where the wife is pregnant by a person other than her husband. So now, in these 5 instances that I have mentioned, a marriage may be seen as voidable based on these circumstances. It is important to note that it must be at the time of the marriage. So you cannot say that, I've been married to this person for 10 years and in the 10th year of marriage, they now refuse to consummate. So it means that my marriage is voidable. No, that's not what it means. It must be at the time of the marriage. So as when you were getting married, there were these circumstances, or, you're already married already. And then these circumstances now came up. Either the parties do not want to consummate, or there's a venereal disease, or the wife is pregnant by somebody other than your husband. And when a marriage is voidable, when a marriage is seen as voidable, then a petitioner, whoever is petitioning for, the marriage to be annulled, would bring the petition before the court. The court will make a decree for the nullity of that voidable marriage. So that's what happens in that instance. The petitioner will bring a petition, and then the court will make a decree for the nullity of the marriage. However, the court will not make a decree for nullity of a marriage except if that capacity to consummate the marriage existed at the time of hearing the petition. And secondly, the court will not make a decree for nullity of a voidable marriage where the petitioner actually had knowledge, knew about the incapacity, or knew about these instances before they got married. So when the petition for nullity is brought before the court, and the court looks at the circumstances and can assert that these circumstances are true, then the marriage shall be annulled, and the marriage will be annulled, and then the decree will become absolute, and so the marriage will not be existing, or the marriage cannot exist after that. I believe that marriages I believe that marriage union is an institution created by God, and it's a blessing to be able to be with someone that you love and care about, and also produce children that you love and that you care about. So, make sure that these circumstances are avoided by all costs, because if they are not, that means the marriage is probably going to be invalid or be declared void, and you'll not be able to be with that person anymore. So look out for these circumstances. Make sure that they aren't there, and make sure that you contract marriage in the right and the proper way. Thank you for watching today's episode of What Does the Law Say? If you have any questions, or would like me to talk about anything, just drop them in the comment section and I'll respond to you as soon as possible. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What does the law say? I'll tell you next Thursday.